I never expected a power outage to change my life, but I guess that's how the best things happen sometimes. Unplanned, unexpected, like the universe just decides it's time and flips a switch, or in this case, kills all the switches at once. It was a Thursday night in late October when everything went dark. I'd been living in my apartment for about 8 months, and honestly, I'd kept to myself pretty well. That's what you do in the city, right? Headphones in, eyes down, don't make it weird. I was good at that. Maybe too good. I'd see my neighbours in the hallway sometimes, do that half-smile nod thing, but that was it, especially with him, the guy in apartment 312. Caspian. I didn't even know his name for the first 3 months. I just thought of him as the tall guy with the nice smile who always seemed to be carrying books. I'd noticed him, of course. It's impossible not to notice someone like that. He had this presence, you know? Dark hair that was always slightly messy in that way that looked accidental, but probably wasn't. These warm brown eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. And he smiled a lot, even just passing people in the hallway. He wore these soft-looking sweaters and always had a messenger bag slung across his chest. I'd convinced myself he was a grad student, or maybe a writer, something artistic and thoughtful. And I'd also convinced myself that noticing these things was totally normal and didn't mean anything at all. The power went out around 8:30. I was on my couch, laptop open, pretending to work on a presentation but really just scrolling through social media. The lights flickered once, twice, then nothing. Complete darkness. My laptop screen was the only light in the room, and I watched the battery indicator like it was a countdown timer. 73%. I had maybe 4 hours if I was lucky. I got up and fumbled my way to the window. The whole block was dark, streetlights out, buildings black. In the distance, I could see lights on, so it was just our area. I could hear doors opening in the hallway, voices murmuring, someone laughing nervously. I should probably check on things, I thought. Make sure everything's okay. But I didn't move. I just stood there at my window, watching the dark street below, lit only by car headlights passing through. Then someone knocked on my door. My heart did this stupid little jump in my chest. I told myself it was just the surprise of it, the unexpected sound in the quiet darkness. I made my way to the door carefully, using my phone's flashlight. When I opened it, there he was. Caspian, holding a small cardboard box and wearing this apologetic smile that made my stomach flip. "Hey," he said. "Sorry to bother you. I'm Caspian from down the hall. I just moved here a few months ago, and I'm still meeting people in the most random ways, apparently." He laughed, and it was such a genuine, warm sound. "I have some candles, and I was going around checking if anyone needed them. Power company says it might be a few hours." I just stood there for a second like an idiot, my brain trying to catch up with the moment. "Oh, yeah, I'm Marcus. Thanks. That's really thoughtful." I took one of the candles he offered, a thick, cream-colored pillar that smelled like vanilla. Our fingers brushed for just a second during the exchange, and I felt it all the way up my arm. "No problem," he said, and he was about to turn away when the lights in the hallway flickered weakly and died again. We both laughed, and then he said something that changed everything. "You know what? This is probably weird, but I also have a deck of cards and absolutely nothing to do for the next few hours. Any chance you play Rummy? Or literally any card game? I'm going a little stir-crazy sitting alone in the dark." I should have made an excuse. Should have said I was busy or tired or anything that would have kept my life simple and uncomplicated. But instead, I heard myself say, "Yeah, actually. I'd like that. Come in." He followed me inside and I lit the candle, placing it on my coffee table. The warm glow filled the room, making everything feel softer, more intimate. I grabbed another candle from my emergency drawer and lit that one too. Caspian settled onto the floor on one side of the coffee table, and I sat across from him. He pulled out a worn deck of cards from his pocket, the kind that had clearly seen a lot of use. "Fair warning," he said as he shuffled. "I'm weirdly competitive about cards. My sister says I have a problem." The candlelight caught his features, highlighting the curve of his jaw, the way his eyes focused on the cards. I forced myself to look away. "Noted," I said. "Though I should warn you, I spent every summer until I was 15 at my grandmother's house. And she was a card shark. Taught me everything she knew." "Oh, this is going to be fun," he said, grinning. We started playing, and it was easy. That's what surprised me most. How easy it was to just be there with him. We talked while we played, the conversation flowing naturally from one topic to another. He was a high school English teacher, which explained the books. He'd moved to the city last spring for the job, leaving behind a small town in Vermont where everyone knew everyone's business. He loved it here, the anonymity, the freedom to just be himself without everyone watching. I told him about my work in marketing, how I'd been in the city for 3 years now, how I was still figuring out what I actually wanted to do with my life. He listened in this focused way that made me feel like what I was saying actually mattered. Most people don't listen like that. They wait for their turn to talk. But Caspian asked questions, made connections, remembered details I'd mentioned earlier. An hour passed, then 2. We played rummy, then gin. Then he taught me this complicated game his grandfather had invented that had rules that seemed to change every round. We laughed a lot. His laugh was contagious, this full-bodied sound that made me want to say funny things just to hear it again. At some point I got up to grab some water, and when I came back I caught him looking at me. Really looking. Our eyes met and held for a moment longer than necessary, and something passed between us. Something electric and terrifying and exciting all at once. He looked away first, clearing his throat and reshuffling the cards. "So," he said, his voice slightly different now, a little less steady. "Can I ask you something? And you can totally tell me it's none of my business." My heart started racing. "Sure." He arranged the cards in his hands, not looking at me. "Are you seeing anyone?" The question hung in the air between us. I could feel my pulse in my throat. "No, I'm not." "Are you?" He shook his head, still not meeting my eyes. "No. I was back in Vermont. That's actually part of why I left. He wanted different things, and I needed a fresh start." He finally looked up at me. "It's hard, you know? Meeting people. Especially when you're not sure if you're reading the situation right." And there it was. The moment where I could acknowledge what was happening or pretend I didn't understand. I took a breath. "Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm pretty good at convincing myself I'm imagining things." "Are you?" he asked softly. "Imagining things." I held his gaze. The candlelight flickered between us, casting dancing shadows on the walls. "I don't think so." He smiled, and it transformed his whole face. "Good. Because I've been noticing you for months now. Every time I see you in the hallway, I try to think of something to say that doesn't sound ridiculous, and I always chicken out. And then tonight, the power goes out, and I'm standing in my apartment thinking this is the dumbest excuse ever to knock on someone's door. But I grabbed these candles and just went for it." I laughed, feeling something warm and bright blooming in my chest. "You've been noticing me?" "Marcus, come on, yes. Obviously, you have this way of smiling at people that's like you're genuinely happy to see them, even if it's just passing in the hallway. And you always hold the door for people carrying groceries. And one time I saw you stop to pet a dog for like 10 minutes, just completely making this kid's day. I've been noticing you. I didn't know what to say. No one had ever said anything like that to me before. No one had paid attention to those small moments, the little things that I didn't even realize anyone saw. I notice you too, I admitted. Your sweaters. How you always have a book. The way you smile at everyone like you're determined to make the world a little friendlier, one hallway at a time. He moved then, coming around the coffee table to sit beside me instead of across from me. We were close now, our knees almost touching. "This is okay?" he asked. "Me being over here?" "Yeah," I said. "This is very okay." We sat there in the candlelight, and he reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away if I wanted to. I didn't want to. His hand found mine, fingers intertwining, and it felt like the most natural thing in the world, like our hands had been waiting to find each other. "I haven't done this in a while," I said quietly. "Been honest about what I want, about who I am. It's easier to just keep my head down, you know? Not make waves." "I get that," Caspian said. "I really do. But Marcus, life's too short to spend it hiding. Believe me, I tried that for years. It's exhausting, and you miss out on so much. Like this. This moment right here. I almost didn't knock on your door because I was scared. But I'm so glad I did." I looked at our joined hands, then up at his face. He was so close. I could see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes, could count his eyelashes if I wanted to. "I'm glad you did too." "Can I kiss you?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Instead of answering, I closed the distance between us. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, both of us learning the shape of this new thing between us. Then it deepened, his free hand coming up to cup my face, my fingers threading through his hair. It felt like coming home and jumping off a cliff at the same time. Safe and thrilling and absolutely right. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. He rested his forehead against mine, and I could feel him smiling. "Wow," he said. "Yeah," I agreed. "Wow." We stayed like that for a while, just being close, hands still intertwined. Eventually, we settled back against the couch, his head on my shoulder, my arm around him. The candles burned lower, casting a warm glow over everything. "Tell me something," he said. "Something you've never told anyone else." I thought about it. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions, like I'm watching my life happen instead of actually living it. Like I'm waiting for permission to really be myself. But I don't know who I'm waiting for permission from. He squeezed my hand. "I think you just gave yourself permission." "Maybe I did," I said. And I meant it. He tilted his head to look up at me. "I'm really glad the power went out tonight." "Me too. Though I should probably thank you for having the courage to knock. I would have just sat here in the dark, convincing myself I was fine alone." "Well, now you don't have to be alone. If you don't want to be." "I don't want to be," I said simply. The power came back on around midnight, the sudden brightness making us both blink and laugh. But we didn't move. We stayed there on my couch, talking quietly, sharing stories, learning each other. He told me about his family, about coming out to his parents when he was 22, about the long journey to accepting himself. I told him about my own struggles, the years of denial, the slow process of becoming okay with who I was. At some point, we must have fallen asleep because I woke up to early morning light, streaming through my windows. Caspian still curled against me, his breathing slow and even. I watched him sleep for a moment. This beautiful man who had knocked on my door and changed everything. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Real, genuine hope for the future. He stirred, eyes opening slowly, and when he saw me watching him, he smiled. "Morning." "Morning," I said. "Sleep okay?" "Best sleep I've had in months, actually." He stretched, then settled back against me. "Is it weird that I don't want to leave?" "Not weird at all. I don't want you to leave either. So maybe I won't. Not yet, anyway." He laced his fingers through mine again. "Maybe we could make breakfast. Continue this whole getting to know you thing. I'd really like that." We made pancakes together in my tiny kitchen, and it felt domestic and right. He knew his way around a kitchen, and we moved around each other easily, like we'd been doing this for years instead of hours. We ate at my small table, knees touching underneath, and made plans. Real plans. Dinner that weekend, a movie, coffee in the mornings before work. When he finally did leave, he kissed me at the door, slow and sweet and full of promise. "Thank you," he said, "for last night, for being honest, for taking a chance." "Thank you for knocking," I said, "for being brave enough to do what I couldn't." "We can be brave together now," he said. And we were. That was 6 months ago, and Caspian is currently asleep in what has become our bedroom. He moved in last month, and every morning I wake up next to him. I still can't quite believe this is my life, that I get to have this, that I took that chance and let him in, literally and figuratively. We still play cards sometimes, sitting on the floor by candlelight, even though the power's on, just because it reminds us of that first night. The night everything changed. The night I stopped waiting for permission to live my life and just started living it. People talk about love at first sight, but I don't think that's what this was. This was recognition. This was seeing someone and knowing, somehow, that they could be important, that they could matter. And then having the courage to find out if you were right. I was right. He matters. We matter. Sometimes the best things in life come from unexpected places, from power outages and neighbors with candles and card games, from being brave enough to say yes when someone knocks on your door, from being honest about who you are and what you want, from taking that leap and trusting that someone will be there to catch you. Caspian caught me, and I caught him. And now we're building something real together. Something that started with a simple knock on the door during a power outage, but has become so much more. It's become home. He's become home. And I've never been happier.